listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking to my ball. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Monday, August 11th. I am your host, Mike Oliva, flying solo today as we have a lot of news to talk about in the world of the Dolphins. The running back room has been flipped upside down with the injury to Alexander Mattison, who will be lost for the year. They made some moves. We're going to talk about everything with the running backs that took place today on Monday, and also a few final thoughts here as we wrap up the first preseason game now that it's been over for 24 hours and I've had some time to sort of marinate on everything. Just a few closing thoughts of what we saw there. Before we get to any of that, let's take care of some business. Today's show is brought to you by Caneswear. Everyone go to the website caneswear.com for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you need a Miami Dolphins hat, hoodie, polo, sweatshirt, jacket, jersey, shorts, or anything for the house or home with a Miami Dolphins logo on it, go to the website caneswear.com. If you're located in South Florida, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, they have it all. Also, Dolphins Talk Extra. We got a lot of great things going on over there. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. $3 a month. It's all cost. You can, once you are signed up there, you can play in our fantasy football league, our survivor pool, our pick'em contest. There's a private message board there as well. A little less crazy and hectic than like Twitter and some of the other social media channels. And we also have bonus podcasts with myself, Josh and Aaron, live watch-alongs, retro rewatches, all for $3 a month. Patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. And if you're watching this right now on YouTube, take a second at the top of the show, smash that like button, smash it, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And leave us a comment as well. If you agree with what I say, if you don't agree with what I say, leave us a comment down below. All right, the big news from the day is Alexander Mattison, the Miami Dolphins' currently third-string running back, but he's been having a fantastic training camp, arguably the second-best running back in training camp. He suffered an injury on Sunday to his head and neck area, not a concussion, but it was an injury to his head and neck area that required surgery, and his season's over. He will not play for the Dolphins this year. Apparently, he stayed in Chicago after the game and had the surgery today. Look, you don't want to mess around with the neck in any which way, shape, or form. So he's already had the surgery, but he will not play this season for the Dolphins. Like I said, he's probably been the second best running back in training camp so far. He was going to help Miami in short yardage type situations this year. So they're down a back who was going to play a critical role for this team this year. I know some fans are like, oh, it's only a third string running back, not that, huge of a deal. Well, we saw yesterday, again, mind you, it's a preseason game, so take it with a grain of salt. Short yardage in the first quarter, Miami had trouble picking up that yard, punching it in the end zone from the 1 and 2 yard line. Mattison wasn't out there for that in the regular season game. He might have been. So losing a guy who can pick up that yard, that tough yard in those types of situations is a loss. So Mattison will not be here this year. That means Jalen Wright, larger role. He was already going to have a larger role probably, but now even a little bit larger. And Ali Gordon, who played really well yesterday, there's going to be more on his plate now moving forward. So Miami had, with this news on Monday morning, only had 3 running backs on the roster. Now here's the deal. You got practices this week with the Lions, and you have a game on Saturday with the Lions, and you got joint practices next week with Jacksonville. Then you have a preseason game with Jacksonville. You need more than 3 running backs because you're going to wear out the guys you got before the regular season even starts. You got to have more guys in that room to just get through the practices, to just get through the preseason games. And then, so they had to go out there and make some moves. I'm first going to talk about the 2 guys that they signed, because they did sign 2 today. And then we'll talk about the guy who worked out that they did not sign and what's coming next. So the first move they made is they signed running back Aaron Shamplin. Who? What? Yes, that's right. Aaron Shamplin. He's been on the practice squad of the Cowboys, Lions, and Chargers. He didn't play in a real game until just last year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played in 3 games and had a grand total of 6 carries for 17 yards. He's very inexperienced. So he's been on a lot of teams, and he's been on a lot of practice squads. But I would say this guy is the poster boy for a journeyman training camp body type back. He's a journeyman back who's just a training camp body. I'd be very surprised if, he's on the 53-man roster at the end of the year. Now, he might be able to find a spot on the practice squad, but that was the first move they made. The second move they made, and this was just moments before I started to record, is they signed running back Mike Boone, 30 years old, who went undrafted in 2018. He's played for the Vikings, the Broncos, Houston, and Carolina. Now, he's got more experience. He's played in 72 NFL games. He started only 2 of them. Doesn't have a lot of experience on the field, I would say. He only has 590 rushing yards in those 72 games, but he has 4 rushing touchdowns. Last year for the Panthers, again, very limited work. He only played in 6 games, had 13 rushes for 51 yards. So they added 2 guys for the loss of Mattison. And I would say with the 2 guys they signed, they're here for now. These are probably not the guys who are going to make the 53-man, if they even carry 4 running backs, Miami. Neither one of these 2 are going to be the 4th running back. I don't even know if either one of these guys will be on the practice squad. I think they're just guys to get now, look, they were thrown for a loop. Nobody expected Mattison to get hurt, so they had to scramble just to get through this week and just get through next week in these 2 preseason games. So you sign guys who can just get you through the practices. So Achan's not out there every rep. Ollie Gordon's not out there every rep. Jalen Wright's not out there every rep. You can give some reps to those guys so you don't overwork the guys you really want, all week in practice and then have to play them more than you want in the preseason games. You can play these guys in the preseason games here in Mike Boone and Aaron Shamplin and just run them into the ground because you really have no intention of keeping either. And if you do keep one, it's like he's a 4th-stringer. He's not going to be active. Who cares? Miami also worked out, and this was the more interesting thing. And this was a report that came out first on Monday. They worked out running back Jamal Williams, and that's a recognizable name to a lot of fans of the NFL. He's played for the Packers, Lions, and Saints, and he's the guy who in 2022 had 17 rushing touchdowns, led the NFL. So when word came out, Miami worked him out. I think a lot of fans got excited. Hey, we're getting a guy who scored 17 touchdowns just a few years ago. I know that name. I know Williams, and he'd be great on the Dolphins. Miami didn't sign him. And, I saw fans were getting upset, which I will talk about here in a minute. There's a reason they didn't sign him. Just like there's a reason 3 or 4 teams who've worked him out this offseason didn't sign him. He's not that good. 2022, where he had the 17 rushing touchdowns, that's the outlier. That's not the normal. In 2024, last year with the Saints, he played in 14 games, started 1, had only 48 carries, had only 164 yards, had only 1 touchdown last year, and he only had 3.4 yards per carry. If you think that wasn't good, the year before, 2023, it was also quiet. That was the year after the 17 rushing touchdown seasons. He had 2.9 yards per carry. He started 4 games, and he had only 306 yards. So I know fans fell in love with the thought of, you're getting a guy who scored 17 touchdowns in a year. He ain't that guy anymore. And he's really never been that guy ever. That's the outlier. If you look at the 8 years he's been in the NFL, there's just not much there, really. I mean, he's had okay years. And by okay, I mean 2nd or 3rd string type running back type seasons. The 1 year, which jumped off the page, kind of got everyone's hopes up, but they didn't sign him. And I'm okay with that. And let's talk about the reaction here. The news of losing Alexander Mattison. I think most smart Dolphins fans, most smart fans who follow this team and kind of know what's going on, not the people who overreact and, flip out on stuff. They understand this is kind of a loss here because, again, short yardage is an issue. This guy was going to help us here. That's where he excels. And when Miami didn't sign Jamal Williams, there's Chris Greer. He's going cheap again. What are we doing? We need somebody better. And Chris Greer doesn't know what he's doing. Look, no one loves to rip Chris Greer more than me. I was the first one to do it probably on any podcast years ago. I'm not a fan. Okay, with that said, people, calm down. We're talking about a fourth string running back. Who cares? Literally, who cares? You want your GM to spend money on a fourth string running back? Come on. You can't be serious, people. You can't. If you're one of the segment of fans who are livid and upset that we've signed Aaron Champlin and Mike Boone and we didn't sign Jamal Williams, oh my God. We're talking about a guy who's never going to play. They're never going to play. In 3 weeks, all these guys would have probably been cut. Okay. And in 3 weeks, the open market is going to be flooded with younger, cheaper, and better running backs than Jamal Williams, Mike Boone, and Aaron Champlin. So sign Mike Boone for now, sign Aaron Champlin for now, get through the week with the Lions, get through the week with Jacksonville, and then once that's behind us and you start to pivot and look towards the regular season with the Colts, see who other teams cut, and you'll find someone younger, cheaper, and better. And if you want a fourth running back, you sign them. If you want to sign one to put on your practice squad to have them waiting in the wings, you sign them. Because let's be honest, in real games, it's Achane, it's Wright, and it's Ollie Gordon at this point. And you have Alec Ingold as well. A fourth running back would never be active. He would never play. And if he is playing, the season's over anyway. So who gives a crap at the end of the day? This roster doesn't have a starting cornerback on it. So, and fans want Greer not to be cheap to sign a fourth running back who won't play. Come on, folks. You got to be smarter than this. You got to be smarter than this. If we're going to spend any real money, sign a corner, sign a safety. That's where we need help, not a fourth running back, and yell at Chris Greer for not signing Jamal Williams so we don't have his 2.9 yards per carry or his 3.4 yards per carry the past 2 seasons. I mean, we're fine at running back. We're fine. The loss of Mattison stings, but we're going to be fine, especially what we saw from Ollie Gordon yesterday. My God, he was fantastic. If that continues here and he continues to look like that the rest of the preseason, we're going to be more than fine at running back, and I don't care who the fourth running back is, and neither should you. And if you're worried about that, then you got to walk outside and touch some grass, folks. It's a fourth running back at the end of the day. All right, before I get to the second part of the show, shout out to everyone listening at finheaven.com. Everyone go to finheaven.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, a shout out to our friends at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page, run by the great and talented Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Podbean, Podchaser, iHeartRadio, Audible, or one of the other hundreds of platforms we're on, hit that subscribe button right now. We're going to have shows each and every day of the week, probably from now through the end of the season. So you don't want to miss an episode when a new show drops. More interviews will be coming up this week with Marissa. We got some other surprises coming up. So subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Okay, we are 24 hours removed now from the Chicago Bears-Miami Dolphins preseason game, 24-24 tie. Had some time to marinate on this and think about it more. If you listened to the post-game wrap-up show yesterday, you heard my thoughts along with Tom's. If you didn't, go back and listen. You hear our thoughts from last night. But a couple things I just want to hammer home here. And then I want to do a stock up, stock down report. Really, 3 things really stand out from this game. And again, it's a preseason game, folks. No one's overreacting. These are just 3 things that sort of 24 hours now that it's behind us, this game. These are 3 things that sort of jump off the screen that if you're a fan of the Dolphins, like, whoa, this is really good or this is really bad. I have 3. 2 of them are really good. One of them is probably really bad. Number 1 is Ollie Gordon, who I just mentioned. And again, I know it's a preseason game, but he looked like the kid in the Little League World Series who's 3 years older than everyone else on the field, and he is dominating and playing with people not his equal. Why? Because he doesn't belong out there with the second and third stringers. Ollie Gordon, I think, showed he is someone who should be probably in a timeshare. Now, look, in Miami, could he pass Jalen Wright? Yes. I don't think it's going to happen by the start of the season, though. I think that if it happens, it's because Wright will just underperform, and it might take till like October for that to happen. But I think Ollie Gordon showed that the kid at Oklahoma State in 2023, who was a little bit of a letdown in 2024. The 2023 version's back, and he just looked superior to everyone out there on the field late in that game yesterday, second half of that game and such. So I think Miami's got something here with Ollie Gordon. I think now with no longer having Alexander Mattison, he might be a guy that you use in those 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 type situations to get those tough yards because he runs angry. He puts his head down. And he's not afraid of contact in any which way. So I thought Ollie Gordon really stood out. And I want to see more of him because I think there's a lot of upside there and a lot of potential. So hopefully he continued it this week when they're going up against the Lions, not just in the preseason game, but also in the joint practices. Here's a negative, which shouldn't be a shock. The backup offensive tackle position is a nightmare. I cannot stress this enough. If Patrick Paul or Austin Jackson in the regular season are injured and miss a month or more, this season is going to go off the rails really, really quick. Like, if we lose the starting quarterback, could Zach Wilson win you 1 or 2 games if he's out for a month, Tua? I don't think that. I mean, look, he wasn't great, Zach Wilson, but I think against the right opponent, he could beat a Cleveland. He could beat Atlanta. He could beat a Jets maybe. So all depending on, when the weeks were. It's not unfeasible to think Zach Wilson couldn't win 1 or 2 games out of 4. If we lose Patrick Paul or if we lose Austin Jackson, here's the thing. I don't even know if Patrick Paul's any good. I have no idea if he's any good. I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be good. He's having a great camp. But even if we lose him and we got to play Larry Borum, Jermaine Ifedi, Keon Smith, like, it's over, folks. Like, we can't win those games. Teams are just going to abuse them. And you can't put a tight end next to him to help. You have to put 3 tight ends next to him to help. In fact, they really should have to play 6 offensive linemen if one of those 2 guys go down, and just play 6 and just play shorthanded like at wide receiver or tight end, because those guys, and I'm talking about Smith, Fetty, like, they can't play. Like, Larry Borum was adequate, but literally first play of the game, he was called for a penalty. I mean, those guys can't play. And at offensive tackle, I've said this for years, I stand by it. I think it's harder to find quality offensive tackles than it is to find a quality quarterback. Like, you can find a quarterback, but quality offensive tackles, they are tough. And once you get ones that are good, teams really don't part with them for the most part. I mean, we kind of did with Larry Tunsil, which is a whole other conversation. But for the most part, teams don't really part with them. And finding second string guys, which I know most teams struggle to have a second string offensive tackle, but they might have one who can play. We don't have any who can play. So I expect Miami here to be on the market. Again, waiver wire cuts. What are you going to get? I don't know. You're not going to get much, but you'll get guys hopefully better than Keon Smith and Jermaine Ifedi. Larry Borum's here because they paid him. So, I mean, he ain't going nowhere, but he stinks too. Hopefully once teams start making cuts, or if they have to make a small trade where you give up a 6th and you get back an offensive tackle and a 7th round pick just so you don't have to fight on the waiver wire form. Okay. If you want to give up a 5th, I think a few years back, Chris Greer gave up a 5th for Greg Little. Now, he was terrible too, but I understood why he did it, because he didn't want to fight for him on the waiver wire, knowing even though the guy stinks, every team's going to want him because offensive tackles are just so scarce. So if they want to do a trade like that to get one, I'd be okay with it, because what they have now ain't good. And let's just be totally honest here. Austin Jackson's always hurt. Like, he's hurt now. If you think this is going to be the only injury he has this year, you're out of your mind. He played in 2 games in 2022. He played in 8 games last year. The guy's always injured. So you better be ready. And Larry Borum ain't it. Last one here. My thoughts. Wide receiver depth, I think, is outstanding. Like, they have reshaped this room so much in 1 year. A tip of the cap to Chris Greer, to the new wide receiver coach, Robert Prince, and also to Mike McDaniel. I mean, if Hill and Waddle play like 1s and 2s, because they're 1s and 2s, and you need them to play like 1s and 2s, the depth behind them with Westbrook Kenny and the 2 Washingtons, Taj and Malik, those are 5 very good wide receivers. Taj Washington, I know we didn't see him last year because he was hurt. He missed the whole season. He's had a very strong camp, and it's just one preseason game, but I'd rather have the guy look great in one of those games than look lost. And he looked great. The other Washington, Malik, looked fantastic. Tua was looking for him on the big third and fourth downs with obviously no Hill and Waddle out there. And, he made the catches, he made the plays. So I think if those are our top 5 wide receivers, and I think they will be, I'm happy with that. I'm very much happy with that. So kudos on the wide receiver depth, kudos on Ollie Gordon, and offensive tackle. Thoughts and prayers. And here's the deal. Secondary, I'm not going to even talk about it because it is what we thought it was. We went into this game thinking it was not good. It wasn't good. So I'm not shocked. And it's not really a takeaway from this game because what did we learn? We didn't learn anything. We learned that the secondary is a problem. So there's that. All right, let's do a little stock up, stock down from this game. And I might do a little bit more of this year after each week. Whose stock went up, whose stock went down. For the stock up, I've already mentioned a few of these guys, so I'll go through this quick. Taj Washington, like we said, in the first half, he had 3 receptions on 4 targets, 53 yards, and he had a 34-yard reception. Looked great. Malik Washington as well. In the first half, he had a run for 6 yards, and he caught all 4 passes on all 4 targets. Only 18 yards, but he did pick up the 3rd downs and the 4th down. So very good there for those 2. And plus, he had a 19-yard punt return as well. So those 2. Ollie Gordon, everything is, I said, not going to go in there again. One more guy for stock up. Derek McClendon. He plays angry as well. The edge rusher. He got called for a late hit, but I don't care about that in a preseason game. But there's a few plays in the first half where he looked unblockable and he was in the backfield getting after the quarterback. Again, I know it's a preseason game. He's not going up against the starters. But again, I'd rather see that than see him not make plays. So I think he's probably going to win a roster spot too. So McClendon, Derek McClendon, those 4 guys get stock up. And Ollie Gordon, McClendon, and the two Washingtons. Stock down, Zach Wilson. I know he led 2 touchdown drives, but he holds onto the ball way too long. No pocket presence. He had a guy wide open for a touchdown, short-armed it. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't good. And he's only here for a year. If he has to play, it's not going to be any different. I mean, from what I saw yesterday, unless there's a massive turnaround here, from what I saw, it looked like he hasn't changed. And again, he's playing with second stringers. I get it, but he's also playing against second stringers, and I was hoping he'd look a little better. We'll see what happens this week against the Lions. So Zach Wilson, stock down after the first preseason game. The offensive tackles, I'm not going to go through it again. Jermaine Ifedi, Larry Borum, Keon Smith, for all the reasons I just said. Their stock, all 3 of those guys are down. Short yardage rushing, stock down. They had numerous times in the first and second quarter to punch it in at the goal line. 3 plays in a row, Jalen Wright was stuffed. Alexander Mattison finally did in the second quarter, but if they really looked at that, it's a preseason game. No one's going to, look that close at it on a replay. If they looked really close, it was close. I mean, he might have got in, but it was barely. In a real game, they might have overturned that and put the ball at the 1-inch line. I don't know. It was a struggle is the point. It was a struggle to get in. The short yardage rushing was a struggle, and we just went out there and you paid James Daniels and you traded a lot of picks for Jonah Savanea. And look, it's his first game ever. I'm not going to come down on the kid Jonah, but that first series when they ran it with Wright 3 times, Jonah did not look good. Again, first preseason game, first drive in the NFL. Whatever. Hopefully he improves, but the short yards running has to improve. It just does. And what we saw yesterday was pretty much same old, hence same old Dolphins. And so that is a stock down for just everyone involved with that. The secondary is also a stock down, but again, like I said, kind of not a surprise, but they didn't do anything to impress me. It was just guys who were just in over their head, really, overall. When Minka's out there, it will look a little different. Obviously, he's a star, really good player at safety, but he's also just one guy. And teams can just try to avoid him if possible, and I'm sure they will. So that's my stock up, stock down report for the first preseason game. That's going to be it for today's show. Again, if you're a Dolphins fan upset that they signed Mike Boone and Aaron Champlin, just take a deep breath. It's a 4th running back. Nobody cares about the 4th running back. And they both will be gone in 3 weeks, and they're probably going to add someone who's probably a little bit better of a running back. And Jamal Williams, this isn't the 1 year he had 17 touchdowns. He's worked out for numerous teams. No one else wants him. Don't blame the Dolphins for not wanting him either. It's just, folks, calm down. I see a lot of outrage on social media. I'm like, man, this fans are just too worked up over a fourth running back. Check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com. A ton of new articles up, great content. Check it out. Social media, follow me. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube. We're everywhere at Dolphins Talk. Is YouTube social media? I'm going to count it as social media. At Dolphins Talk. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button, subscribe, put a comment below if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, just be civil, just be nice, just be respectful. I don't care if you agree with me. Just do it in a normal human being ways. We're all human, just trying to get through the day. We don't have to be mean to each other. And I'm going to end the show that way. Folks, thank you for listening. Talk to you again later this week. And don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity. Hey everyone, Mike here from DolphinsTalk.com, and thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to take a second to smash the like button here on this video and also to ensure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. We thank you so much for listening, and we know there are a lot of podcast options out there these days regarding the Miami Dolphins and with non-Miami Dolphins podcasts. So we do appreciate you giving us a few minutes each and every day to tune in and listen to all of our shows. Everyone here on staff, thanks you so much. And if you enjoy these shows, also please be sure to sign up for Dolphins Talk Extra, our Patreon service at patreon.com/Dolphins Talk, where we have bonus podcasts about the Dolphins and some shows not about the Miami Dolphins. We have a private message board. We also have a ton of contests where we give away really cool prizes, and it's all for the low cost of $3 a month. Again, that's patreon.com/Dolphins Talk. And also, please be sure to follow the written content we have up on our website. So check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com, each and every day. Once again, thank you again for listening. Take care, and we'll talk to you again real soon.